They say success isn't about where you come from, but where you're going. This is the story of how I went from being called a college dropout to becoming the youngest board chairman in corporate America. But it didn't start the way you'd expect it. It was supposed to be a celebration. My brother had just graduated from Harvard Business School, and my parents insisted on throwing him a dinner party. Little did I know, this dinner would become the catalyst for everything that followed. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The camera pans across an upscale restaurant. The family sits around a large table, my parents, successful pharmaceutical executives in their 50s, along with various relatives including the golden child, my brother, 26, in his expensive suit. To our son, our family's first Harvard graduate, we're so proud. Of you, sweetheart. Everyone raises their glasses except me, 23, sitting quietly in a wrinkled hoodie, looking uncomfortable.
Yes.
At least one of our children understands the value of prestige and dedication. Dad, not tonight. What? You think we should pretend? Everything's fine? You're dropped out of MIT? You're 23 years old, with no degree, no job, and no direction? You spend all day in that garage doing ... what exactly? I'm working on something revolutionary, Mom. I've been trying to explain working on what? Video games. It's ridiculous inventions. You're living in a fantasy world. Look at your brother. He's going to work at McKinsey. He's got his life figured out. Dad, maybe he just needs more time to ... mature. The condescension in my brother's voice is unmistakable. Time. He's had 3 years since he left MIT. I'd 3 years of nothing but disappointment. Do you know what our colleagues say about us? No, they have the dropout son. I'm not a dropout. Mom, I left because I discovered something incredible. Incredible. You call wasting your life incredible? Had everything handed to you, MIT, the best professors, every advantage money could buy, and you threw it all away for what? Some fantasy about changing the world? We sacrificed everything for you and your sister. We built our careers from nothing so you could have opportunities we never had, and this is how you repay us. The entire restaurant seems to be watching now. I feel the weight of everyone's stares, you know what? You're right. I'm just a disappointment. A dropout. A failure. Is that what you want to hear? I throw my napkin on the table and walk out, leaving my family stunned. I drove around for hours after that dinner. Eventually, I ended up back at my garage, a converted space behind my tiny rental house that I could barely afford. But this wasn't just storage. This was where I was building something that would change everything. I sit surrounded by electronic components, circuit boards, and prototype devices. My laptop displays complex schematics. Empty coffee cups and takeout containers litter my workspace. My phone buzzes with missed calls from my parents. They think I'm wasting my life. Maybe they're right. I look at my reflection on the black computer screen, then refocus on my work. No, they don't understand. Nobody understands what I'm building here. The camera shows my workspace displaying a revolutionary medical device, a portable MRI scanner that's 90% smaller and cheaper than traditional machines. What my parents didn't know was that I hadn't just dropped out to tinker with gadgets. I had discovered something at MIT that my professors couldn't teach me. A way to miniaturize medical imaging technology using quantum sensors. I had been working on this for 3 years, barely sleeping, barely eating, pouring every ounce of my energy into perfecting this device. My phone rings. It's my only friend who believed in me, a fellow MIT dropout. I saw your social media post. The dinner didn't go well, I'm guessing. They called me a dropout in front of the entire family, said I was living in a fantasy world. Are you kidding? Me, what you're building, could revolutionize healthcare? Just because they can't see it doesn't mean it's not real. Sometimes I wonder if they're right. Maybe I should just go back to school, get a normal job. Listen to me very carefully. 3 years ago, you showed me a problem that billion-dollar companies couldn't solve. You found a solution that works. Don't let their fear make you doubt yourself. The device is almost ready. I just need someone to give me a chance to prove it works. And let's make that happen. I've been doing some research on companies that might be interested. There's this healthcare corporation, Apex Medical Solutions. They're huge, but they've been struggling with imaging technology costs lately. Apex Medical? It's like trying to get a meeting with the president. They're a Fortune 100 company. So, what's the worst that could happen? They say no? You're already living in a world where your own parents don't believe in you. At least with Apex, you'd only be disappointing strangers. I laughed despite myself. You know what? You're right. I'm going to contact them tomorrow. I spent 5 days crafting the perfect presentation. I knew I'd only get one shot at this, so I had to make it count. Apex Medical Solutions was facing a crisis. Their imaging equipment was too expensive for smaller hospitals, limiting their market reach, and their stock price was declining. If my device could solve their problems, it could solve the entire industry's problems. I stand in the imposing lobby of Apex Medical Solutions, a gleaming 50-story tower. I'm wearing my only suit, which is slightly too small. I'm sorry, but the executives don't take unsolicited meetings. If you'd like to submit a proposal, you can email it to our general inquiries, please. I just need 10 minutes. I have a technology that could save hospitals millions of dollars. Sir, I hear that 30 times a day. Now, if you'll excuse me just then, the CEO of Apex Medical walks through the lobby, just tall, authoritative, with silver hair and an air of command. Cancel my 3 o'clock. I want to review the quarterly imaging division reports again. Market losses are unacceptable. I overhear this and seize my chance. Excuse me? Are you the CEO? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't help but overhear. I have a solution for your imaging division problems. Excuse me? And you are? I'm a biomedical engineer. I've created a portable MRI device that's 90% smaller and 80% cheaper than traditional machines. I know it sounds impossible, but I can demonstrate it works, young man. We have a team of 500 engineers and consultants from Boston Consulting working on this exact problem. What makes you think you can solve something they can't? Because I'm not thinking inside the box. I'm not constrained by traditional manufacturing methods or corporate politics. I'm just focused on physics. The CEO studies me for a moment, intrigued. By my confidence, you have exactly 10 minutes. Conference room A, don't waste my time. I had prepared for this moment for months. But standing in that conference room, facing a CEO who could make or break my future, all my preparation felt inadequate. I had one chance to prove that the dropout from Denver could solve problems, that teams of experts couldn't. I set up my prototype device, my hands slightly shaking. The CEO sits across from me, checking her watch. 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Ma'am, your company loses approximately $400 million annually because hospitals can't afford your imaging equipment. Your current MRI machines cost $3 million each and require massive infrastructure. My device costs $300,000 and can fit in a regular room. I display my device on the table, a sleek, compact unit about the size of a large briefcase. Using quantum sensors and advanced signal processing, my device produces the same image quality as traditional MRI machines, but at a fraction of the size and cost. In testing, it's been 95% as accurate as full-sized machines. Testing? With whom? I partnered with 3 community hospitals in Denver. The results were so impressive that they're now using my device as their primary imaging system. What's your background? Where did you go to school? I studied biomedical engineering at MIT, but I left to focus on developing this technology. You dropped out of MIT? I chose to pursue a breakthrough that was more important than any degree. The CEO was quiet for a long moment, studying the device. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time. So if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. This is remarkable work. But implementing this across our entire product line would require significant investment and complete manufacturing overhaul. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar decision. I understand the scale, but consider this: you're currently losing $400 million annually to market limitations. Even if development costs $200 million, you'd break even in 6 months and dominate the portable imaging market. I'm going to be direct with you. What you're showing me is exactly what we need, but you're asking me to bet my company on an MIT dropout with no corporate experience. You're right. I don't have corporate experience. I don't have an MBA. I don't have a team of consultants. But I have something they don't. A breakthrough that actually works. The CEO extends her hand. I'm going to make you an offer. I'll give you a 60-day trial period. If your device performs as promised in our clinical trials, we'll discuss a full partnership. If it doesn't, we part ways. Deal. While I was working 18-hour days conducting clinical trials at Apex Medical, my parents had been planning what they called an intervention. They had decided that my latest venture was just another delusion, and it was time for some tough love. Arrive at my childhood home, exhausted but hopeful. My parents, sister and brother, are waiting in the living room. Sit down. We need to talk, Mom. I'm really exhausted. I've been working on something groundbreaking. That's exactly what we want to talk about. Your brother told us you've been telling people you're working with some major medical company. These fantasies have to stop. I did some research, Dad. Apex Medical Solutions would never hire someone like him. They only work with top-tier engineering firms. We're worried about you. You look terrible. You're not taking care of yourself. We've made a decision. We're not going to enable this delusion anymore. Either you go back to school and get your degree, or we're cutting you off completely. No more help? No more support? You're cutting me off? Mom, I'm 23 years old. I don't need your help, really. And how are you paying for that garage? How are you buying all those expensive components? You're living in a dream world, and we're not going to watch you destroy your life anymore. You want to know the truth? Fine. I am working with Apex Medical Solutions. I've developed a technology that's going to revolutionize healthcare. In 3 weeks, I'm presenting to their board of directors. Come on, do you hear yourself? Claiming you're going to present to the board of a Fortune 100 company? That's completely delusional. Please. We love you, but we can't watch you spiral like this. These fantasies are getting worse. Son, I'm going to give you one last chance. Admit that you made this up. Agree to go back to school, and we'll help. You get your life back on track. But if you continue with these lies, you're on your own. They're not lies, Dad. Why can't you believe in me? Just once. Why can't you believe that I might actually be capable of something extraordinary? Because extraordinary things don't happen to dropouts. They happen to people who work hard, follow the rules, and earn their success. You know what? You're right. I am a dropout. I'm a failure, and I'm definitely not good enough for this family. Head for the door. If you walk out that door, don't come back until you're ready to face reality. Dad, in 3 weeks when I'm presenting to that board, I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that you called your son a liar and a failure when he was trying to share the biggest breakthrough of his life. I leave, slamming the door behind me. I threw myself into my work after that fight. Maybe it was anger. Maybe. It was desperation. But I had never been more focused in my life. My device wasn't just working, it was exceeding every expectation. I stand in the bustling research center, surrounded by monitors displaying clinical trial data. The VP of Research and Development approaches with a huge smile. The results from yesterday's trials are incredible. Your device correctly diagnosed 47 out of 48 cases, saved each hospital $2.8 million in equipment costs, and reduced patient wait times by 85%. The entire medical community is talking about your breakthrough. It's working even better than I projected. The quantum sensors are adapting to different tissue types faster than I anticipated. I still can't believe you pulled this off. When I saw the clinical report, I had to read it 5 times. The CEO wants to see you immediately. She seemed ... amazed. Sit down. I have some extraordinary news. The clinical trials exceeded expectations, didn't they? Exceeded. In 6 weeks, your device has revolutionized how we think about medical imaging. 3 major hospital systems have already committed to purchasing 200 units each. Our stock price has increased 35% based on the preliminary results alone. The board is calling this the breakthrough of the decade, so we're moving forward with full production. We're moving forward with something much bigger than that. I'm recommending you for a position on our board of directors. I'm sorry, what? The board meets tomorrow to discuss our strategic technology initiatives. I want you there to present your vision for the future of medical imaging. But this isn't just about your device anymore. We want to make you our Chief Innovation Officer and give you a seat on the board. I'm honored, but I'm 23 years old. I don't have an MBA. I don't have any executive experience. You've accomplished more in 6 weeks than our entire R&D division has in 6 years. Age and degrees don't matter when you have breakthrough results like this. What exactly are you proposing? Full partnership? We license your technology and integrate it into our entire product line. You become our Chief Innovation Officer, with significant equity in the company. Most importantly, you get a seat on our board of directors as our youngest board member in company history. I don't know what to say. Say yes. But there's one more thing. I want you to invite your family to the board meeting tomorrow. I think it's time they understood exactly what you've accomplished. I stared at my phone for 3 hours before I finally worked up the courage to call my parents. After the way our last conversation ended, I wasn't sure they'd even answer. I dial my parents' number. It rings several times before my mother picks up. Are you calling to apologize? Mom, I'm calling to invite you and Dad to something tomorrow. It's important. We've been very clear about our position. Till you're ready to face reality, Mom, please, just listen. I need you and Dad to come to Apex Medical Solutions tomorrow. At 2 p.m., there's a board meeting, and I want you to be there. This fantasy has gone too far. You can't just walk into a corporate building and pretend to be part of their board meeting. Not pretending, Mom. I'm presenting to the board of directors. The CEO specifically asked me to invite you. Honey, please get help. These delusions are getting worse. Mom, if I'm lying, what's the worst that could happen? You waste one afternoon? But if I'm telling the truth, if I'm actually telling the truth, then you're about to see your dropout son become the youngest board member in the history of a Fortune 100 company. There's a long pause. If this is another one of your fantasies, if you embarrass us again, if I'm lying, I'll go back to school. I'll get my degree. I'll do whatever you want. But Mom, you have to give me this one chance. To prove I'm not the failure you think I am? Fine. We'll be there. But this is the last time. Do you understand me? I understand. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Apex Medical Solutions, 45th floor, and Mom, dressed professionally. You're going to want to look good for this. I arrived at the office for hours early. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't focus on anything except this moment. Everything I had worked for, everything I had sacrificed, it all came down to the next hour. The elegant boardroom features floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Phoenix. 15 board members, all in expensive suits, sit around a massive conference table. I enter in a perfectly tailored suit, carrying my prototype device. Ladies and God. Gentlemen, I'd like you to meet the young man responsible for our remarkable breakthrough this quarter. The board members look surprised. The board chairwoman, 58, speaks first. We've heard remarkable things about your work. I understand you're quite young? Yes, ma'am. I'm 23 years old. And your educational background? I studied biomedical engineering at MIT, but I left to focus on developing this technology. Murmurs around the table. Before we discuss background, let me show you what he's accomplished. CEO displays the clinical trial results on the large screen. In 6 weeks, his device has achieved 95% diagnostic accuracy while reducing costs by 80%. Our market projections show potential revenue of $2.8 billion over 3 years. Most importantly, we've solved a problem that has limited healthcare access for decades. These numbers are extraordinary. Can you walk us through your solution? I stand up, my confidence growing. Traditional MRI machines are massive, expensive, and require specialized infrastructure. My device uses quantum sensors to achieve the same diagnostic quality in a portable format. It's like having a smartphone with the power of a supercomputer. Display my device and show detailed technical specifications. The quantum sensors detect molecular vibrations at the atomic level, creating detailed images without the need for massive magnetic fields. The device is 90% smaller, 80% cheaper, and can be used in any standard room. How did you develop this technology independently? This seems like the work of a large research team. Spent 3 years working 18-hour days. I had access to MIT's research libraries and open-source quantum computing resources. What I didn't have was preconceived notions about what was impossible. What are you proposing for implementation? I'm proposing that we make him our Chief Innovation Officer and offer him a seat on this board. His technology isn't just solving our current problems, it's positioning us to dominate the medical imaging industry for the next generation. Just then, there's a knock on the door. My heart races. Come in. My parents, mother and father, enter hesitantly, followed by my sister and brother. They're all dressed formally but look completely out of place and confused. What are we doing here? This is obviously some kind of mistake. You must be his family. Please, have a seat. You're about to witness something very special. The family sits in chairs along the wall, looking bewildered and nervous. Your family is here to see your presentation. Yes, ma'am. They've been skeptical about my work. I thought they should see what I've accomplished. My brother whispers to my mother, Mom, I think he's having some kind of breakdown. We should probably get him out of here before he embarrasses himself further. I could feel my family's eyes on me, their confusion and embarrassment. But I also felt something else, a calm certainty, that I was exactly where I belonged. A seat on this board comes with enormous responsibility. You'd be the youngest board member in our company's history. You'd be making decisions that affect 80,000 employees and billions of dollars in revenue. I understand the responsibility, ma'am. But I also understand that innovation requires bold decisions. My technology isn't just a medical device. It's a fundamental shift in how we approach healthcare accessibility. Show the board your 5-year projection. I display a comprehensive expansion plan. If we implement this technology across our entire product line, we'll generate $15 billion in revenue over 5 years. More importantly, we'll democratize medical imaging. Every rural hospital, every developing nation, every underserved community will have access to diagnostic technology that was previously impossible to afford. You're talking about changing the entire healthcare landscape? Exactly. This isn't just about profits, it's about saving lives. My device can detect brain tumors, heart conditions, and internal injuries in places where traditional MRI machines could never exist. I can see my parents' faces changing from confusion to amazement. As they begin to understand the magnitude of what I've created, the clinical data supports everything you're saying. The technology is proven, the market demand is enormous, and the social impact is immeasurable. The board needs to vote on the proposal. All in favor of appointing him as Chief Innovation Officer and board member. One by one, every board member raises their hand. Congratulations. You are now the youngest board member in our company's 127-year history. The room erupts in applause. My parents sit in stunned silence. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our new Chief Innovation Officer and board member, the brilliant young man who just revolutionized healthcare. More applause. I look at my family, tears in my eyes. Thank you. This is just the beginning. We're going to change the world. My family stands in the lobby, still processing what just happened. Other board members are congratulating me and discussing implementation timelines. I don't understand. How is this possible? Mom, this is what I've been trying to tell you for 3 years. I wasn't wasting my time. I was creating something that could help millions of people. Son, we had no idea, thought you. We're just playing with gadgets in that garage. I was developing breakthrough technology in that garage. Every sleepless night, every missed meal, every moment you thought I was failing, I was actually working toward this. I researched this company, thought there was no way they'd work with someone like you. I was wrong. We all were. So, sorry, how do we apologize for not believing in you? How do we make up for calling you a failure? Mom, you don't need to apologize. You were scared. You saw me leave MIT, and you couldn't understand why. But I need you to understand something. I didn't drop out because I was failing. I dropped out because I was succeeding beyond what any classroom could teach me. What happens now? Now we change healthcare forever. 5 years, my technology will be in hospitals around the world. Children in rural areas will have access to the same diagnostic tools as patients in major cities. We're going to save lives that would have been lost to inaccessible medical care. The CEO approaches us. Hope you're proud of your son. He's not just brilliant, he's going to make a difference in the world. We are proud. We're incredibly proud. Son, we owe you an apology. We should have believed in you. Gad. You believed in education, hard work, and following proven paths. Those aren't wrong values. But sometimes the most important breakthroughs come from taking risks and following your passion, even when nobody else understands. 6 months after that board meeting, everything changed. My portable MRI device was being used in 1,200 hospitals across 40 countries. We had saved healthcare systems $2.30 billion in equipment costs and diagnosed thousands of conditions that would have otherwise gone undetected. Time-lapse. It's montage showing my device being manufactured in state-of-the-art facilities, hospitals around the world installing the portable Mr. I units, patients in remote locations receiving life-saving diagnoses, medical conferences where I'm presenting to thousands of doctors' magazine covers featuring my breakthrough, stock prices soaring for Apex Medical Solutions. The camera returns to the Golden Phoenix restaurant, but this time the atmosphere is completely different. The same family sits around the table, but now I'm wearing an expensive suit and my parents beam with pride. To our son, the youngest board member in Fortune 100 history and the inventor who revolutionized healthcare, we're so proud of you, sweetheart. A year ago, you called me a dropout at this exact table. We were wrong. We were scared and we didn't understand what you were building. But you taught me something important that night. You taught it me that success isn't about proving other people wrong, it's about proving yourself right. Even when everyone doubts you, especially when everyone doubts you, you have to believe in your vision. I learned something too. I learned that the traditional path isn't the only path. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come from people who dare to do things differently. You never gave up on yourself, even when we gave up on you. What's next for you? We're working on portable X-ray machines that cost $5,000 instead of $500,000. After that, we're developing handheld ultrasound devices that work with smartphones. The goal is to make advanced medical diagnostics available anywhere in the world. From a garage in Denver to changing the world. I still can't believe it. Dad, it all started with a choice. I could have stayed at MIT and followed the traditional path. I could have gone back to school when things got difficult. But I chose to bet on myself and my vision, even when nobody else would. The CEO appears at our table. Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to personally thank your family for raising such an extraordinary young man. We're still learning how extraordinary he is. Well, I have some news that might help with that. The board voted yesterday to make him our youngest ever chairman of the board. Congratulations. The family erupts in celebration. I sit back, overwhelmed by the journey. A year ago, I was a dropout with a crazy dream. Today, I'm the chairman of the board of a Fortune 100 company. But the most important thing isn't the title or the money. It's the knowledge that we're saving lives every day. We're sorry we ever doubted you. Don't be sorry. Your doubt made me stronger. It forced me to prove not just to you, but to myself, that I could turn my vision into reality. What would you tell other young people who are thinking about taking unconventional paths? I'd tell them that success isn't about following someone else's plan. It's about having the courage to follow your own. If you have a vision that could change the world, don't let anyone convince you it's impossible. Sometimes the most important breakthroughs come from people. The camera shows a small rural hospital, where my portable MRI device is being used to diagnose a young patient. The machine hums quietly as it produces detailed brain scans that would have been impossible to obtain just 2 years ago. Thanks to this new technology, we caught the tumor early. We can treat this completely. A few years ago, we would have had to send you to Denver for diagnosis, and it might have been too late. That's the real measure of success. Not the titles, not the money, not the recognition. It's the knowledge that your work is making a difference in the world. The camera pulls back to show dozens of hospitals around the world using my technology, each one saving lives that would have been lost to inaccessible medical care. They called me a dropout. They said I was living in a fantasy world. They told me that extraordinary things don't happen to people like me. But sometimes, The most extraordinary things happen precisely because you refuse to accept what other people think is possible. My name is on the door of Ava, Fortune 100 company. But my real legacy is in every life saved by technology that almost nobody believed could exist. And it all started with a young man who refused to give up on his dreams, even when everyone else had given up on him. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. This one hits the mark. You won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.